Hello, how are you doing? Recently, the sun has been coming out a lot more in London after a really rainy few weeks, and this has made me want to make a summer reading plan. And I think there is something kind of special about reading books that are centered around or give the vibes of a particular season. It kind of adds to the atmosphere of the story that you're reading. So I have 12 different novels, which aren't all necessarily set in summertime, but either have summer in their titles or their covers give me these kind of summer vibes to them. And so they're books I want to get to reading over the next few months and that I think will go really well with the summer reading plan. So let me know if you've read any of these books yourself or if you have your own summer books that you're planning to read over the next few months. Let me know about that in the comments below and we can have a discussion about it. So first off, there is the novel Summerwater by Sarah Moss, which has just come out in paperback. So there's this new paperback edition, and I've been wanting to read this ever since it was first published, but just never got around to it. And I know people told me in the comments, like, this isn't a book that you have to read during summertime, even though it's set during the summer. But yeah, it's quite convenient now that summer has come around again, and there's this new paperback edition of it. So this is set in Scotland in a sort of resort where it's like a cabin park where a number of different people are staying there, and typical to British weather, there's a lot of rain that assaults them over this time, and it's about their different stories staying in this park and their different lives and some of the mysteries of their different lives. And so sounds like a really intriguing story, and I love her writing. And she has a new novel out later this year, and so I want to get to this before her new novel is published. Another novel with summer in the title is Summer Brother by Jaap, and it's translated from the Dutch by David Doherty. And this is a novel I've been meaning to get to because it was longlisted for the International Booker Prize, and I just never got around to reading it. And it's not the cheeriest subject. It's about a 13-year-old boy that lives in a trailer park, and his mentally disabled brother comes to stay with him, and his father leaves this brother in the care of this 13-year-old boy who doesn't really know how to care for him. So it's about their summer together, struggling to live with each other. And yeah, it sounds like quite a serious story, but quite a moving tale that I've been wanting to get to. Speaking of book prize nominated novels, I also want to read The Wild Laughter by Kalyn Hughes. And this came out a while ago, but just recently it won the Encore Award, which is a book prize that awards writers for their second novel. Quite a unique prize. And this novel is about contemporary Ireland and is set in 2008 after the economic crash occurred in the country and devastated so many people's lives. And it follows the stories of two brothers that are trying to make their businesses and their families continue and survive after this huge economic crash, which is referred to as the Celtic Tiger. A new novel which has been getting a lot of buzz recently and which I just bought a copy of is Assembly by Natasha Brown. My friend Anna James highly recommended this book, and Bernadine Evaristo calls it a stunning new writer because Natasha Brown, this is her debut novel, and the story is about a Black British woman that goes to attend a lavish garden party at her boyfriend's family estate in the English countryside, and there she confronts certain issues that she's been avoiding and decides to make some changes in her life. And so it's about race and class in Britain today, and her writing has been likened to Virginia Woolf's writing, who's is one of my absolute favorite writers. And so I'm really interested to see a contemporary writer that's writing in this kind of style, and it's quite a short novel, so I think it'll be quite quick to get through. Then I have a couple novels I've been wanting to read that are all centered around the lives of surfers or surfer communities. And so first off, there's Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which has been getting a lot of attention recently, and she's such a popular author, but I've never read her before. And so, yeah, I've been wanting to get to this novel, which is also centered around a big, lavish party at a mansion. But this is set in Malibu in 1983, and it's an end of the summer party, which is taking place at this big mansion, and things go very wrong. And I've been told that what you might be expecting in this story is expect the unexpected, or along those lines. And yeah, so I'm really eager to read this. I've asked in the past whether people think I will get along with her writing, but there's been quite a positive response, and there's been lots of positive reviews that have been coming out about this novel. So yeah, it's one I'm eager to get to. Then there is Under the Wave of Waima by Paul Theroux, which is all about a man in his 60s who used to be a famous surfer and now is having a lot of problems in his life, and he accidentally kills someone while drunk driving. And so it's about the consequences of that and him reflecting upon his life as a famous surfer. Then I have a novel which has a very summery, bright cover that just makes me want to read it, and it's been published as part of this Black Britain Writing Back series, which has been curated and which features introductions by Bernardine Evaristo. And so this is Minty Alley by C.L.R. James, and this is set in Trinidad, and also June is Caribathon reading month, and so this is my little way of like participating in that as well. And so this is set in the 1920s and is about a adult man whose mother dies, and with her goes his prospects for the future, and he finds he has to live into this slightly more dilapidated neighborhood called Minty Alley. So it's following his story as well as the personalities of people he lives alongside. And yeah, it's a historical novel that I just think sounds really moving and involving. Now, in the past few months, as lockdown has been easing up, shops have been opening up again. And so I want to read this novel that's set in the 1930s and is all centered around a famous department store, which is Selfridges in London. So the story is about a Scottish woman that moves down to London and starts working at this famous department store, and all about her life in London and yeah, the workings of this store. And I love this kind of insider's view of a department store, especially from a historical period like the 1930s. So I think this will be a really enjoyable novel to read. I'm not someone who's typically very interested in reading thrillers, but recently I read the novel The Other Black Girl, which I really enjoyed, and does have a lot of the tropes of like a conventional thriller, but has these bigger ideas and issues that go alongside the story. And so another new literary thriller that has just been published is called The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. Now, obviously this is about spring, not summer, but yeah, it's sort of seasonal and just reminds me of that. And it's because it's a new book just coming out. It's one that I think I might want to get to. And so this is set in a small town where a murder of a child occurs, a very young child, but that child's murderer is actually another child. And so it's going into the life of this girl and who perpetrates this murder, and is looking at her life in a more complex way of the circumstances around the murder, but also the circumstances of her life and what leads her in her neglect to come to this rash decision. And so yeah, it's looking at the complexities of that, and so it sounds like quite a thrilling story, but also quite a moving one. Now, with things opening up again, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to travel some more. And so another novel I want to read, which doesn't have anything to do with summer really, but has to do with very extensive travel, and that's Everything You Ever Wanted by Luiza Sauma. And this is a story about people who enter into a lottery and a competition in order to go on a trip to another world. And this has to do with social media and contemporary life, but yeah, also the prospect of distant travel to other planets. So it's quite a fantastical story, but one that I think I'll really enjoy because I love stories about space travel as well, but which is also sort of dealing with contemporary issues. So I think it'll be quite interesting in that way. And I read this author's debut novel, which I thought was really interesting, so I've been wanting to read more of her work. The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dari, and I've been wanting to read this ever since it came out. And it's about a young Nigerian woman who really wants an education in her life, but because her father is broke, she is made to marry a man and become a man's third wife. And but she still wants to get an education, so it's about her struggle to try to achieve her own independence within these tough circumstances. And finally, there is Heaven and Earth by Paolo Giordano, which has a very summery cover, and it's about a young woman that goes with her father every summer to stay in this area of Puglia in Italy, and how one summer while she's there and just spending the summer reading, she encounters three neighborhood boys who all have a very strong bond with each other, and it's about the relationship she strikes up with these different boys and discovering the mysteries of their bonds and the conflicts of their relationship. And so it tells their story over this one very hot summer. And this is a novel I've just been wanting to get to for a while, and I think just sounds so good. It has a lot of good praise from it from the likes of Edmund White and Andre Osman, and so yeah, really wanting to get to it. So those are the books that I'm hoping to read over the next few months. Like I said, let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you have your own summer reading list that you're hoping to get to. Let me know in the comments below, and we can have a chat about it and follow our progress over the next few months. But I hope you're doing well and enjoying the sun while it lasts. It never lasts all that long here in London, but yeah, it's out at the moment. So I'll speak to you again soon, and I hope you're reading good things. Bye-bye.